Okay, here we are getting towards the end of things now, and this is riff number 7, drop D riffing. So this is classic metal territory. Really reminds me a bit of Dio, perhaps, something like that, Black Sabbath. And what we're going to be using here is the natural minor scale for a lot of it, with a couple of cool, well at least one cool alteration there with the flatted fifth and the power chord. Okay, as always, there's a scale sheet provided so you can get to know that scale over the whole fretboard. So it will be the D minor scale within the context of drop D as well. So look out for that scale chart. There'll be one for intervals and there'll be one for the note names, so you can get to know all those as well. So to begin with, there's a couple of choices with regards to the beginning, because I generally start with the power chord open, but you can also just do a single low E string, or in this case the D note, the low D note, or... So I'll leave that up to you. It's not a real big deal. You can just sort out your preference with that. So in this case I'm going to start just with the power chord, and then we're going to start on the root note D and do a little bit of a D minor thing with the melody. So I'm proceeding from root to 7 to 8. Again, there's that slur there from 7th to 8th. And back. 3rd fret with first finger. 1st fret with first finger. And then the last bit of it, which has got that nice interval aspect to it. So proceeding from sort of root 5, B flat root in this case, to the flat 5th. And then in the next part of it, so we're getting a bit more adventurous, going a little bit further onto the D string here for a lot longer. So it's initially starting with either power chord or just the open string. I'll just do power chord, and then 5th, 7, 8 on the A string, 7, 5th on the D string, 8th on the A, and 5th on the D string. Let that breathe a little bit, so that's the tie there. Over to 7th, slur 7 to 8, go back. So we're proceeding back down the scale. So now we get this. Getting into the 5th bar there, we're going to mix it up a bit. We're going to start with the open power chord. This time quarter notes, are only strumming once. And then we're going to go from the 5th to 7th, slur to the 8th. Go back, 3rd fret, and then do this. Now what I'm doing there is 5th fret. I'm going to do a 16th note slide over to 7. Go back and pick it at the 5th. 3rd fret on the A string, 5th string, and back to the 1st fret on the A string. So it's... ending off with another melodic sequence. Sorry, actually here it's the quarter note, so just be careful of that. So we're actually starting, again, quarter note strum. Ending on a high note, so to speak. It's not incredibly high, obviously, but we're really peaking there with the idea. So a lot of this riff's simply based off the first 6 notes of the D natural minor scale. And I'll just break up what we're doing there. So that open strum, 5th to 7th, slur to 8th, go back 7th, 8th again with 4th finger, D string at the 7th, and then that sequence on the D string, 8, 7, 5, 7, 8. Guess you could end on a pinch harmonic there too if you wanted to. I didn't get it that time. Sort of there. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, so let's listen to those 8 bars now at a slightly slower tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so at this point what we're going to do is switch over to power chords, and this is where it really reminds me of Dio. So we're going to strum a couple on the open D power chord, hit the D5 on the 5th position, on the 5th string. We're going to slide to the 8th position, go back to 7th, to 3rd position. Remember, this is all on the A string. So all these power chords from this point on are on the A string. That's where your first finger should be, on the A or the 5th string. And you'll just be switching positions. Back to 5th fret for a couple, and then the 1st position for a few. So we get this. Just be careful of the rhythm too. One tip I would give the novices out there is when you're shifting, there's a couple of ways you can do it. Sometimes I tend to do both basically, but you know, the tendency is to think that you have to keep both fingers down, but actually what I like to do sometimes is particularly when I'm going from, in this case, 7th to 3rd fret, so it's sometimes easier just to let the 1st finger go out off the string and then just slide the 3rd finger down, in this case to the 5th fret, and then put that 1st finger back down rather than going. So keeping both fingers down, it can be easier just to release the 1st finger, and you're not going to notice it, you know, once you're playing it at speed. It's not going to sound bad or anything, so it's an advantage to be able to do that. I'd recommend to be able to do it both ways, but you know, if you can do it both ways, and you can make up your mind for a start which way is better for you, but also you've got the option to do both whenever you want. So let's listen to those 2 bars again. Now in the next lot, we're going to do something different at the end. We kind of start the same. So that's kind of our main theme throughout this when we're beginning each 2 bars. But for the ending, so what I'm doing there is strumming the B flat, but I'm lowering that 5th note down to the flattened 5th. So we get, remember that sequence from the first part of the idea in the 2nd bar, right at the very beginning? Well, what we're doing here is kind of that, but with power chords. Ending off with just the B flat, and then flattening it, so the last 2 are strummed without palm muting. Flattening the 5th like that's a really good thing to do. Just gives it a little bit more spice. So moving on, we're going to start the same way. And just sort of do something pretty simple here. So I was ending there on the B flat from the first sequence. Just there, and just ending with, so a couple of strums on the B flat, one on with the flatted 5th. Moving on then to the next sequence. So that bit's identical to what we did in the 13th and 14th bar. We're going to do some more palm muting again here with that fifth to flattened fifth thing. So that's pretty much the same as bar 12. And then just ending on the open power chord. So let's have a look at these 8 bars now, slightly slower tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4.